Hello, this is Eileen, and today I am here with Graeme Wright, who is a child theme developer and an active member of the Divi community. So thank you for being here, Graeme.
Thank you for having me, Eileen.
Tell us a little bit about you and where you're from.
Okay. Well, I'm born and bred in South Africa, on the East Coast, in the city of Durban. But I've lived in the United Kingdom and London for 15 years. And currently for the last 4.5 years, I'm back in South Africa, where I started my design business.
Yeah.
And I'm married with 2 children.
I probably should interrupt and say to anybody watching that both of us have home offices and both of us have children who are home on summer holiday. And so if we get interrupted, it's the joys of life and the joys of sort of being your own entrepreneur or solopreneur or whatever it's called, right?
If there's a sudden riot behind me, it's just the children.
It's happy noises.
Yes.
Yeah. People tell me you miss it when it's gone, so I just roll with it.
That's right.
Yeah. So you 15 years in London. I also lived in London, but I wish it was for 15 years.
Yes.
I loved it.
It's a great place, yeah, and we miss it terribly. Obviously, all our friends, your friends over there become family when you're so far away from home.
Right. So you are back, and what led you into working for yourself or WordPress? Give us that part of your story.
Okay. Well, WordPress for me started probably about 15 years ago. When it was WordPress.com, just playing around with blogs and for a ministry that I was busy running in London. And so I've been playing around with it for a long time. And then coming back to South Africa, my wife and I were volunteering for a orphanage in Kwanusa, which is a little place near sort of inland from Durban. And so they needed help with marketing their funding, and they didn't have a website. They had a small blog post, and so I started helping them. And then when people saw that website, they approached me and said, would I be able to help them with theirs? And so kind of just it grew sort of from there, almost without me planning to grow it. It just started growing. And then my wife and I decided, well, if I can design websites, it will also help, obviously, like we said, working from home. I can manage my own time so that I have time to go and help in the rally and with the ministry that we're currently running at the moment. So that's kind of how it all started.
Yeah.
And, it's growing, from there.
And so tell us a little bit about how you transitioned from making websites for colleagues or referrals or, friends to creating child themes.
Okay. Well, actually, I was meeting with a friend who introduced me to Divi, Divi theme by Elegant Themes. And so he was raving about and saying it, this was probably about 2.5 years ago. And so I decided, well, I'll go and check it out and just see what it's like. And just when I looked at the capabilities of this, I started more on the graphic design side. I wasn't a professional coder. And so when I looked at the specs of Divi, it was almost a tool to help me use my design skills without having to go deep into the coding side of web design. So that platform was already there for me, so I could just take it from there. So I decided to go, become a lifetime member with Divi, and then I just started building my own themes at home, just practicing, looking what other people had done, just testing different plugins, testing different ways. And obviously, we know in the last 2 years how the Divi theme has grown so much and expanded so much.
Right.
It just keeps expanding, so it's great. And so that's literally, I started using that as my sort of mother theme, if you want to call it. And then as more and more websites were created, more and more people started approaching me, and it's just grown from there. And then I've just decided that, now that I sort of feel quite experienced using the Divi theme, let's try and create some themes that we can sell and people can use for their businesses.
Right. That's great. Can I ask which themes you were using before? Did you have a favorite?
Within the Divi or?
Within, just in general, before you hit on Divi?
I didn't really use a lot of other themes. I just used straight WordPress.
Okay.
And then some of the free themes.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's great. And so tell me when you first started using Divi, what did you say was the game changer for you? For me, it was the columns and rows. I was just, this is life-changing because I was using these div codes all over the place, making myself crazy. Was there one thing that you said, okay, I'm in, or I like this, or?
Yeah, I think for me as well, definitely the way it's set out and structured so well. Like you say, with the rows, everything is fairly, even though you're looking at the Divi builder, you pretty much get a solid structure of where you want this image to be, where you want this text to be, and that's, I think I'm quite a structured person myself, so that appealed to me, and then just the capabilities of being able to play around with different modules, just that really appealed to me as well. And I think also the speed as well. I mean, you can literally, a page you can put together in such a short space of time.
Right.
So, that was just winning all around, really.
Right. And I love how you can duplicate, because sometimes I'll have a client say, how does it look with the picture on the right or the left? And you just duplicate and swap things around, and then you can say, here you go. Because a lot of people need to see, and I understand that. I'm a visual person as well. And when you see it, you can understand it. And that duplicating is really, I think, a cool feature.
And definitely.
Yeah.
It just makes it so much faster. And also what I love with the latest Divi is the being able to export and import and using your Divi library.
Yeah.
Exporting those JSON files as a whole page, I think it's really been a game changer for Divi as far as time saving. It's just incredible.
I totally agree with you. I recently did a deep dive into Divi class, and we spent a lot of time because using the library, I think, is a little confusing for importing a whole page or just importing a section or even a module. And once you sort of start doing it, you kind of can't stop.
I know.
So before we continue, because I really want you to show the theme, because there's so many cool things and I want you to explain it to everybody. Can you just spend a minute on your design background or process, or which platforms you use? Because everybody's always looking for tips in that huge, broad arena. So could you share some of your expertise?
Yes, definitely. I mean, with the graphic design side, I use obviously all the Adobe software.
Yeah.
Particularly, I really enjoy using Adobe Illustrator and using vectors. And but I'll tell you another because I work with a Mac, MacBook Pro. Mac came up with this software called Pixelmator, which some people might be familiar with. And that is also brilliant. It's a really low-end scale designing software as far as price goes compared to the Adobe software and all those other softwares. But Pixelmator is something that I use a lot still, even though if I'm mostly designing for print or something like that, then I'll go with Adobe software. But for web work, Pixelmator is great. And I mean, for those out there that aren't familiar with all these sort of designing softwares, there are also some free software like GIMP, for example, that you could use in your website work. But I enjoy using the Adobe Illustrator to create, and just to create a little bit extra to the photos and things that I'm placing into my website. I think it just gives it an extra sort of class and feel to it. Although I do not try to do too much, I try in my designing themes and that to try and use as much of the Divi platform as possible, so that, you know, if others are using the same theme, it's easy for them to use as well.
Right, which I give you all kinds of credit, because it's very easy, I think, when you're creating a theme to become sort of so aspirational in the look and the design, and there's just no way somebody can replicate what is in a child theme or what, you know, with their own work. So clearly everybody always needs good photography, because, you know, that makes all the difference. But with your theme, and maybe now's a good time for us to take a look at it, I know that you were very streamlined with the plugins. There's nothing sort of fancy or complicated, or that you have to spend additional money on, because you've got it, you know, very, very, I don't want to say out of the box, but, you know, I won't speak anymore for you about the plugins. You explain.
Okay. Well, I mean, with the Spacious theme, when I started designing it, I was designing it with the mind of someone downloading it themselves. And I wanted to try and see what I could do within the framework of the Divi theme. So, you know, I didn't download any extra plugins or anything. I try to add as little as possible. Also, so that whoever does download the theme, they're able to, if they have Divi, the latest Divi version, pretty much what they see in the demo site, they'll get with the download.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's with other plugins, you can create different effects and add more to the theme. But this particular project, I was trying to see how can we take the Divi theme and really expand it within the framework that they give you. And so I think we did quite a bit of that, just, you know, moving things within the actual Divi builder, you know, moving margins and just playing around a bit.
Do you want to share your screen and show us the theme?
Sure. Yeah, the images used in this child theme are free images.
Okay, great.
From Pixabay. But I think choosing images for any website or any theme is highly important. I think I often say, you know, photo makes all the difference. And so what we try to do with the Spacious here is really create a real elegant type theme. You've got big contrasts with the photos, the black and the white. And obviously there's a play on the parallax as well.
Right.
Which I think works quite nicely.
I love your font choice. I think that it's beautiful, because so many people, to me, it is such a mistake to just leave the default Divi font. It's so easy to change it. And this isn't a sales pitch, but even if Sean Barton has a plugin out there that for, I think, $15, you can pull in 700 Google fonts. And I just think typography, the way you have it in general, is such a game changer for a website. And I love your use of the greater than and less than symbols. I think that's terrific. So who did you have in mind as a client?
Well, when I was designing the theme, my client in mind was more, obviously this was designed as a fashion theme, but more for a shop owner who had maybe started in the retail business of selling clothes, and they hadn't quite got to the stage of having an online shop. Mm-hmm. Obviously they have a physical store, but they were sort of moving towards that I think, this sort of theme would fit in quite easily with an online store. So this is sort of the stepping stone, if you want to call it, to moving your shop online.
Right.
So it could easily be converted into something like that. So it's really a showcase of what your store has to offer. But the great thing about this theme is its flexibility to be pretty much used for anything. If you want to showcase your design work or showcase anything you're selling, photos, photography, it's the sort of theme is really the theme that would be beneficial to showcasing your stuff, really.
Right. And especially if there's somebody who maybe doesn't want to take on the e-commerce piece on their own. And I think we talked a little bit earlier about somebody who maybe had an Etsy shop and wanted to showcase their products, and then you just go over to Etsy and buy it. I think that there's all kinds of potential with the theme. Let me ask you, what if somebody said, I am all about pink. My store is in the pink, and I want pink instead of this gold color.
Yes.
Or I'm a platinum girl. I don't want gold. How complicated is it to make that edit?
Okay, with the download of Spacious, it comes with instructions on how to make changes. So a lot of the color scheme, it is fairly easy to change. A lot of it is actually done within the main elements of each section. So in the instructions, I've highlighted the color that I've used as this gold color. And so that is the color to look out for to change. With this theme, it comes with obviously the colors. There's borders to the left and borders below, all in the gold theme. So you would need to go to each section and within that element change them. So it's fairly straightforward to do. It will take a little bit of time, but not much at all. And I think that using those colors like that, whatever theme color you're using, really brings just a class of dimension to the whole theme as a whole.
Right. Well, one thing that I used to do when I was doing a lot of CSS editing is I would copy all the CSS provided by the theme designer, and I would do and just put it in my text editor, and I would do a search, say, for whatever the hex code is for the gold, and then every time it would come up with the gold, I'd just swap it out for the pink, and it takes a minute.
Yes, no, it's very quick.
Yeah.
Especially with the Divi, they really make it so easy to change.
Right.
And what I've done is the coding in the CSS style sheet, I've actually labeled a lot of the sections saying exactly this is the code for this section on this page. It just makes it clearer for those people who aren't familiar with CSS to know exactly what this code is targeting.
Right.
Once again, they can spot their gold color straight away. They change it to their particular theme color and away they go. That's very, very straightforward.
Yeah, you're good with the documentation for sure. So this little horse that's going up and down, or the chess piece, is that special? Or is that something that's customized?
That's a customized. Obviously, you've got your standard bouncing one that you get in your Divi. So what I did was, once again in Pixelmator, actually, it's just a small PNG image that is just placed in there. And once again in the CSS style sheet, you'll see the section clearly labeled, and the section where you would change your own image and you want to change that, and you know exactly where to pop your PNG image right in there, so you can change it to anything you like, really. Excellent.
Do you want to show us some of the other pages? I think you do a really nice job with the typography on the About page in particular.
Okay. You'll see as we change it, it's sort of a different look to the menu popping out on the side. Yeah.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that earlier. I really appreciate how you have the little box around the hamburger menu on the homepage, because it could get lost, and it just calls it out. And I don't know that everybody all the time knows to look for it, but you just see it right there and you immediately know menu.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a nice touch.
That gold color around is also quite easy to change within the style sheet.
Okay.
So you can see the theme comes with a number of pages. It also has a bonus extra home page.
Oh, okay.
There's a few little treats that's added to the theme. But let's have a look at the About Us page. You want to have a look at the typography and the style.
Crazy Us, that's so cute.
Yeah, so there's a few. So you'll see straight away what I like about these pages is as you open the page, right from the top, you've got exactly what information customers would be looking for, clients would be looking for. And so we've got, with it being the spacious theme, that's how we've got big spaces between, just to give it that room. You can see as we scroll down here, there's a few little CSS future things popping up.
Right.
So this is sort of obviously the About Us. If you had a team of people or staff, you could throw that in there with the connections available there.
Yeah.
This was one I haven't actually seen done before. I threw in this We Love Fashion. It's been tilted to face downwards. That's not an image on its own. That's actually within the Divi builder. You can literally go in and type in your own whatever you want to say there, and it's right in your builder.
Oh, so, I haven't seen that before. I love it. Years ago, I designed a website that had the parentheses really large with the font, but I like yours better.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll try to make things so if someone wants to change, because sometimes you can download a theme that's got loads of images, but then you've got to put a whole new image in to change the theme. So I've tried to make it as customizable as possible. So We Love Fashion, you can literally just go into your Divi and change that writing to whatever you like.
Right. We love jewelry, we love hats, we love ice cream.
Absolutely. Anything you like. And then I think sometimes in your site it's nice to throw in just a little bit of humor, a little bit of personality.
Right.
I'm through in sort of some crazy stats here. Happy clients. How many cups of coffee? I'm sure lots of people when they work, how many coffees they have. Yeah, there we go. And that's with your, people looking at your website, this creates that sort of personal touch as well.
Right. It's nice. I used to have in my About Me that I would run with my golden retriever, and I got more comments on the golden retriever. Maybe anybody who likes poodles was not contacting me, but I got all the golden retriever fans and the runners.
Yes, I'm sure if this was someone beginning like, oh, you only had 372 cups of coffee, we had 560 or something like that. Right. You can see this page. Yeah. So there's a play on the parallax. We haven't gone a bit overboard too much. There is parallax in there, but I think it all fits nicely together.
It definitely fits.
Also, you can see here with the Crazy Us.
Yeah, I love that.
Coming on off the side.
Yep, that's a great design.
And that's not an image once again.
I'm sorry?
Change it to whatever you like. So that Crazy Us you can change right within the builder to whatever you want.
Okay.
And you mentioned earlier about these little sort of shapes on the side, the forward and back, which is straight normal forward and back.
The greater than and less than sign. That's what we call them in the States. I'm not sure Or at least that's what we called them in math class when I was in school.
Yes, way back then.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day.
So will you show us the alternate homepage?
Yes, sure. So there we go. It's easy to find now. This, so we've thrown this from the top, looking very similar to the one we just changed the image. And so the image is obviously easy to change yourself.
Right.
And once again, we've with the top part, we've just changed the colors. So you'll see here we've gone straight with the black, whereas the other one had the white background here.
Yeah.
The same information again, we've thrown in a few different background colors. Once again, if you want to change
overlapping. I'm sorry.
Yes. So you could change the background colors to whatever your theme color is.
Right.
And I think this was the overlapping you mentioned was probably one of my favorite parts actually of the theme. Just, just breaking those boundaries. I think sometimes websites can become so boxy. So what I wanted to do with this theme was just to break it a bit, throw certain sections over others, and so I think this works quite well.
Definitely. All right. So what's your favorite thing when you designed or executed any one piece? Did you say, man, I can't stop looking at this. I love it. Or wife, children, come on in, see what daddy just did.
Well done. I think what I mentioned, I think these top sections with the overlapping, what I loved about the theme. And then also just below this, you'll see on the original homepage as well, this sort of, it's almost like a mini gallery of just displaying what's on offer. In this particular theme, it was a shop theme, so they were selling accessories like watches and ties and hats and things, plus obviously jeans and clothing. But something that I haven't seen before in the Divi as well is just in this sort of creating a section line between the images, joining them together, and then these outer images are slightly bigger than the rest of the other images, as you can see.
I love that.
So I was really just playing with them.
Right.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And this could work for, like you said, anything. This could be a photographer, especially where photographers, sometimes, it's very easy to have 3 photos that are perfectly the same and then one just needs to be a little bit larger, or a fine artist. I think that there's another opportunity for this theme.
Yeah, it's really a showcase theme to really show, you see it in the write-up I did. It's a showcase to really show the world what you're made of.
Yeah.
So whatever it is you're selling, if it's within a shop or if it's design, photography, anything like that, this theme really does showcase your work.
Right. Okay. So highlights, very easy to customize. There's not any tricky plugins that you're going to need to purchase or configure. And this is beautiful. And I think that there is something, there will be a little CSS customization that you'll have to jump into if you want to change the color. But with any site that's really standing on its own, there's always a little bit of work. And if you're willing to invest just a little bit of time, you can make it your own. And I know your documentation is really solid, so people don't need to be afraid of that.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing with the Divi is really, a lot of it is about playing around as well. Even with this, what we spoke about earlier, these images that are portrayed here, so having this bigger image here kind of almost happened accidentally. I was fiddling around with the margin, suddenly it popped out and I thought, hey, that looks really cool. And let's do the same down the bottom here, and then just mirrored that, and then that's kind of how it came together, which is great. And I think as you download this theme, it really is something that you can you can use fairly easily, and you can add on and experiment yourself as well.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to let you get back to your day. Thank you so much for taking the time out. I know we've been sort of back and forth because we're in such different parts of the world, but it's a pleasure learning about the theme and learning about you, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for getting on with me.
No, thank you very much.
All right, Graeme, we'll look for your, and I assume there's another theme coming at some point?
Yes. I'm currently working on a slightly smaller theme, but yeah, some more exciting themes to come.
Okay. Well, we're going to watch this space.
Thank you, Eileen.
All right. I'll chat with you soon, Graeme.
All right. Thanks a lot.